There are only going to be 30 years of your life in business, but it has been growing at a rate of 200% each year for the last 11 years. So how much longer can you stand to stare in denial at something that is obviously successful? For a decade, Peter Schiff has opposed Bitcoin. He'd have a fortune in the billions by now. Had he not been opposed to it, he would currently be worth $10 billion. Over the course of 5 years, you stand to lose 98% to 99% of your money if you choose to ignore or reject this reality. Therefore, being in denial of things does not come without cost. Allow me to provide an example once again. Are you going to stand there for 2 hours and argue with me about black swans and whether the oxygen is safe to breathe or not? What if someone pokes their elbow through a window and the plane starts to depressurize, sucking the oxygen out? What if we then have a mass of oxygen descend from the overhead compartment? Will you be donning the mask? You have never worn an oxygen mask when flying before, for example, just because it's novel. Are you planning to put the scuba gear in your mouth if I were to drop you 50 feet below the surface of the ocean with a weight around your neck? Do you intend to engage in an argument with me? And now you want me to contort myself in an attempt to? What if a politician in another nation were to pass a legislation prohibiting the use of this regulator in my mouth? It's as if we're making an extra effort to find an excuse not to do the obvious. Among benchmarks, Bitcoin stands head and shoulders above the crowd, having grown at an astounding average annual pace of 200% over the previous 11 years. Michael Saylor has lately highlighted this outstanding achievement, calling attention to an asset class that keeps proving its value. During a discussion about the value of Bitcoin, Saylor argued that it is a good way to protect one's wealth in the face of economic uncertainty caused by government interference in conventional banking systems and fast depreciating fiat currencies. Saylor, drawing on his knowledge of both finance and technology, highlighted the underlying concepts that make Bitcoin resilient. In spite of the increasing global economic uncertainty, he emphasized its mathematical purity and decentralized structure. If you're looking for a way to be financially independent and secure, Saylor says you should look into Bitcoin. At the end of his talk, Saylor discussed why fiat currency cycles are about to collapse and gave some predictions about how much Bitcoin's value will increase exponentially in the next months. His statement is in line with the idea that Bitcoin, being a digital asset, can survive economic downturns and even thrive as a tool for financial autonomy and security in a volatile world. Right now, that's how Bitcoin is. A lot of people are trying really hard to find a reason not to believe anything new. On the other hand, the fact that 7.8 billion people worldwide are struggling is pretty evident. Without action, half of the world's wealth will vanish in the next 2 years. Doing nothing will result in the complete loss of everything for the 1 billion people living in a developed economy that is about to collapse. An energy-efficient digital currency network that you have access to, where it is impossible to corrupt and where you retain physical control over your money and financial energy, would be ideal. Uncertainty exists indeed. We pioneered the invention of this thing in human history. While it is novel, it has been around for a while. A decade has passed. Even if you don't want to put 100%. Are you planning to put the oxygen mask on one of your 10 children to see whether they survive while the other 9 suffocate when the plane's mask falls off? On the other hand, will you put the mask on yourself before you put it on anyone else? What is your level of fear when it comes to suffocation compared to using the oxygen? Reason being, Bitcoin is both fresh and oxygen-filled. As long as they're wealthy, famously comfortable, and blissfully happy, some individuals will find it acceptable to disregard it. Some people experiment with it. Since everything is up for debate, I'm thinking of purchasing 1% or 2%. Also, there are many who would be game to put you in Argentina if I were to. The current Argentine dollar exchange rate is something I was wondering if you were aware of. No, I believe I am aware that it is inflated to an extreme. It used to be 1 peso to the dollar, and then it slid to 10 pesos to the dollar, and then it slid to 20. Later on, it dropped to 40 pesos for $1 USD. The exchange rate then dropped to 80 pesos per dollar. Within a decade, the dollar's worth has dropped by half, and the black market rate is 140 pesos to the dollar. In other words, you've actually lost 280/100. You might as well have lost all of your money if you're an Argentine with any significant assets. Will we take some time to consider how we might? In an ideal world, an Argentine politician would pass a law mandating the disclosure or taxation of my Bitcoin holdings. Is the prospect that someone could disagree to your decision not to die enough to make you suffocate your loved ones and ruin everything you know? Why? Because it appears like the majority of people would prefer it if we all just died and stopped complaining. In my opinion, maybe you'll muster up the courage to open the back door, step into the backyard, and perhaps look for a new house if I enter your house and turn the thermostat all the way down till your children are frozen. It becomes a question of bravery and self-awareness eventually. I don't know what the future holds for mankind if we continue to be terrified of finding a solution to the problem that affects us all. And to those who seek to sow seeds of doubt and confusion, I ask you why. First of all, every fiat currency that has ever existed has been debased and failed, therefore I believe we should talk about the blockchain problem. Thus, if you intend to pursue a career in academia or history, you will not be able to locate a single instance of sound money that has the potential to last forever. There is no commodity money, no money backed by gold or silver or copper or fiat currency whatsoever. No government in human history has ever maintained a strict monetary policy for 25 consecutive years. When Satoshi claimed that banks have always broken their customers' confidence, which is a major issue with fiat currency, he was merely stating the obvious. There is no central bank or bank on this planet that cannot print additional currency at will. This is merely a point of view. So building a currency system on the basis of faith in a bank or politician is as ridiculous as trying to cross the Atlantic Ocean while a ship is leaking without taking any precautions whatsoever. Can you have faith that the boat will be watertight? Or would you prefer to guarantee it won't leak? Do you not think every pilot conducts a pre-sign? A leak is a fatal flaw in any engineering system? There isn't enough water in your pool. Would you dare to jump into your pool before making sure it's water-filled? If there was a hole in a pool, would you still jump in? Just as a swimming pool won't function, an airplane won't take off, a ship won't sail, a short circuit will render the electrical system useless, and a leak will render the pneumatic system useless. In engineering, things don't operate without integrity in a closed system, and in mathematics, changing the numbers doesn't solve anything, does it? Ultimately, math is math. You may operate your civilization on fiat currency with one person making up as much money as they like at any one moment if you want to deny all of math, thermodynamics, science, the conservation of energy, and the cosmos. The cosmos, however, does not appear to function in such a manner. This is the change in perspective. They have no idea that, for the first time ever, we have created a money system that will genuinely function. Plus, they feel stuck in the past with all the flawed monetary, political, and paper systems. They accept the world as it is, where nothing works and never will work, because none of their efforts have any effect. After then, a moral hazard occurs, and some people want to seize control of the financial institutions and the printing press so that themselves, their friends, and their favorite causes can benefit. Meanwhile, some people go hungry and die because they have no say over the distribution of wealth, and that is the reality of our modern life. This is a matter of morality because of it. I mean, come on, the dollar was only introduced in 1971. For 50 years, we have used a fiat currency. For starters, its buying power has dropped by around 90% in those half-century. Because of this, it is powerful. Julius Caesar, the Roman, was powerful. Today, where is he? The idea is that Babylon was powerful. Did you know that the British Empire was powerful? It was Napoleon's strength. Alexander the Great possessed great strength. What happened next? I see. The Phoenicians and Carthaginians were powerful. Venice was a powerful nation. Power resided with the Roman Catholic Church. Henry VIII held authority. I see. That they all possessed authority is something I will not contest. Within a certain time frame, everyone possesses power. The US dollar's status as the world's reserve currency is inarguable. It makes sense to me there was a time when I considered penning a book praising the dollar. Isn't that irrelevant? Does the world really need to accommodate it as its reserve currency? That is not the point. Indeed, we do. What matters most